Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today, Lemesachtas Bava Kamadav Chav Hey. We're going to begin on Chav Daled Amud Beis by the Mishnah. Says the Masnisin, Shor Hamazik Rishos and Nizik. So you have this animal that went into the Rishos of the Nizik, and there it did damage. Ketzad, what is the din? So Nagach, Nagav, Nashach, Ravatz, Bot. These are all toldos of Karen, which we saw at the very beginning of this Masechta, whether it gores or it collides, bites, crouches, kicks. In the Rishos Harabim, all these things are Kavanas Lahazik. If it was done Rishos Harabim, Misham Chatzi Nezik, Rishos and Nizik, how about Rishos and Nizik? Well, up until now, maybe we thought you should also only pay Chatzi Nezik, but it's actually Machlokas. Rav Tarfon Omer Nizik Shalem. Rav Tarfon says actually you have to pay full damage. So, according to the sheet of Rav Tarfon, he holds if the animal went to the Rishos and Nizik, you're talking Chayiv Nezik Shalom. So on this, Amar Rav Tarfon, Umaba Makim Shehekel Al Shein. So they said, listen, in a place where we're lenient when it comes to the din of a tooth, Vial Regal, namely, Rishos Rabim Shu Potter, we know that Shein and Regel is completely Potter in Rishos Rabim. So Hichmer Lehin Rishos and Nizik, when Shein and Regel take place in Rishos and Nizik, L'Shalom Nizik Shalom. So there you not only you're not Potter, but you pay full damages. So Malkum Shehichmer Karen Rishos Rabim L'Shalom Chatzi Nizik. In this case, when it comes to Karen and Rishos Rabim, we're even more strict than Shein and Regel, because there, Shein and Regel, you pay nothing. Here, you pay Chatzi Nezik. So, in the Rishos and Nezik Shalom. So, this is Rav Tarfon saying that L'char it's a raya to me through a Kal V'chaimer that the din is I should pay Nezik Shalom. So, Amrlo, the Chum say, I understand the Kal V'chaimer, but Dai Level Minadin Lias Kanadon. You can only go as far as where you're learning from. So you can say when it comes to the din of Karen, told to the Karen, that of course when it comes to Shein and Regel, you always pay Nezik Shalom. It doesn't matter. So we're talking about short Tom violating Karen Rishos Hanizik, whether you pay Nezik Shalom or Chatzi Nezik. So he says there's a concept of Dailam Milios Kanadlin. So therefore you can only be Chatzi Nezik. So he said, Afani, also I, as we continue to Chav Hamad Aleph, will Adain Karen McKaren. I don't learn Karen from Karen. Ani Adain Karen Meregel. Umaba Makam Shehekel Shein Val Regel B'Shus Arabim. Again, I'm learning from Shein and Regel, in which by Shein and Regel, we're not focusing on Karen, because Karen, you're right, you pay Chatzi Nezik. I'm focusing on Shein and Regel, where you pay Nezik Shalim in the Rishos and Nizik. So when it comes to Shein and Regel, you're put to completely Hechmer, but Karen, we're still strict. When it comes to the horn, you pay Chatzi Nezik. But therefore, Makam Shechmir al Shein Val Regel Rishos and Nizik, where you pay full damages in an Inshanachmer B'Karen, that you should have to pay full damages. No, still Dalavam Ninias Kanadlain, Mabrishos Aram Chatzi Nezik, Mabrishos and Nizik Chatzi Nezik. According to the Tanakam, they feel, it says Rashi, sof, Ilav Karen B'Shos Arabim, Lo Mishkacha Sad Kal V'Chaimer, Sad Chomer. So you need still to borrow the Chatzi Nezik piece of Rishos Arabim. So therefore, maybe that should only teach you, again, you only have to pay Chatzi Nezik or Rishos and Nizik. Okay. Excited sticking Gemara over here. Says the Gemara, Rav Tarfon Leisli Dayoi. It sounds like he doesn't hold a dayo at all, which is hard to imagine. But dayo deraisahu. Dayo is actually from the Torah itself. The Sanya. Medin kavachayim ketzad. It says in the pasuk, V'yam Hashem al Moshe v'yav yorok yorak v'vnei halot tikam shem v'shamim. So this, as we're familiar, has to do with when Miriam received Saras, and she was excommunicated and sent down to Shlosh Machanais. So when a person humiliates and embarrasses a person, so it's 7 days. So the question is, how about when it comes to doing something which is against the Shechina? So Kavul Chayim Shechina Arba Aser Yom. It should be 14 days that she should be quarantined. The way that she spoke was an affront to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. El Dai Lava Min Adin Le'ez Kanadain. So even we can only learn out from the thing itself. So when you do something toward a person which the punishment is saras, and therefore you go outside of the 3 encampments, but that's only for 7 days, so here it's only 7 days. But anyway, this is a question. This is going to be question 13. So again, we see this when it comes to the din of did I say Tzipora? I meant Miriam. I hope I said Miriam. So by Miriam, we find that she was in solitude for 7 days. Kavul Chayim would maybe say she should be locked up for 14 days, but because of Daya, we don't do this. But the question is, we see everyone holds to this. How could Rav Tarfon not hold to this Daya? Why would he say you're Chayav B'Shus and Nizik to pay full damages? The Gemara says like this: Kilei Slei Daya Hecha Demafrech Kavul Chayim. The only time he doesn't hold of Daya is where there's a question on the Kavul Chayim. Hecha Demafrech Kavul Chayim Islei Daya. However, if there's no pircha on the Kavul Chayim, if it's a strong Kavul Chayim, he does Islei Daya. Then he does hold of Daya. Hasam Shiva de Shechina Luksive. When it came to the notion of having to sit for disrespecting the Shechina, it doesn't even say anything. It says nothing. Asa Kavul Chayim, so the Kavul Chayim will come. ICR Be'asar, and you can make it from 0 to 14. Asa Dayo Api Shiva, Uki Shiva. And therefore, Dayo will work in that case, because the starting point is for the Shechina 0. We don't find anywhere that anywhere else in the Torah that there's a din of being quarantined for going against the Shechina. So therefore, the starting point is 0. So maybe the Kavul Chayim will bring it up to 14, and then we drop it down to 7. So therefore, in that case, Rav Tarfon Taka will hold of Daye. The Torah actually says that there's the din of paying Chatzi Nezek. So what happens? All it does, the Kavul Chayim brings up to Nezek Sholim. So Darshas Dayo, if you make the drush of Dayo, Afrech le Kavul Chayim, then you basically uproot the entirety of the Kavul Chayim. Because otherwise, of course, you're going to be paying Chatzi Nezek. So the starting point is you're paying Chatzi Nezek. So the whole purpose of the Kavul Chayim is to actually tell you that it's something above and beyond just that amount. And this is how he writes it here. Rav Tarfon Kivan the Hachal lo Mifrach Kavul Chayim the Shiva Nami Luksiva Amrin and Dayoy. So since it doesn't say anything, so you have to say Dayoy. Since it says by the Shechina it's 0, so therefore to go up to 14 we say Dayoy, go to 7. However, when it comes to Chatzi Nezek, it's already Chatzi Nezek. So therefore you don't say Dayoy in that case. Rabbanan Shiva the Shechina Ksive Tisager Shiva Shomim. He actually holds that it does say over there the notion that the Shechina should get 7. And therefore, just like 7, 14, and back to 7, Chatzi Nezek, Nezek Shalom, back to Chatzi Nezek. Rav Tarfon, Ahu Tisager Didarshin and Dayahu. That word Tisager is just to tell you that there's a din, that there is a concept of Dayahu in general. For Abanan, Ksiv Krachrina, there's another pasuk for Tisager Miriam. Rav Tarfon, what does he do with that pasuk? Ahu Diafil Ba'al Medarshin and Dayahu. It's something to tell you that this concept of Dayahu is in other cases as well. You wouldn't think that maybe there's an exception over here because it's Kavodah Shel Moshe, so the din is different specifically to the respect and honor needed to give to Moshe Rabbeinu, but Ba'alma maybe we don't say Kamash Mulan. Armali Rapapul Abaye. V'ha'hai Tana do Darsh Dayoi. This Tana, he doesn't use Dayoi. V'afagav the lo mafrech Kavul Chayim. Even though there's not mafrech Kavul Chayim. Where do you see this? The Sanya, that there's an opinion that never uses Dayoi. The Sanya carry bezav menayin. Says Rashi, menayin shedhei hatipa matami b'maga v'masa How do we know even a drop from this man will make a person tamei touching or lifting? Ketipa shel zayv, just like the drop that comes out of a zav. How do we know the din of being matamba b'maga b'masa applies by carry also b'zav, just like b'zav? But dinhu, ma tahar b'tahar, says Rashi. Ma rok shu tahar, just spittle that came from a tahar person. That's tahar b'tahar. Tami b'tamei. If you have instead spit that comes out of a tamei person, tami b'tahar, it will matama the tahar person, and udin shehi tami b'tamei. Then certainly it should be matama the zav. So v'kam ma'isila bein l'maga bein l'masa, and we compare this so to carry by maga and masa. Why don't we say that it's only enough to be matamba b'maga but not b'masa, says Rashi. To carry shel tahar, carry of a tahar person ain't a matamba b'masa. So if it's true that a tahar person who is raw carry, it's not going to be matamba b'masa, it's only matamba b'maga. So how could you learn out that this carry is going to be also matamba b'masa? Well, you should say dayai. Maybe you don't need it at all to tell you that when it comes to someone just touching, it's no different than a person who's tahar. Mikri lilaksiv. Mishikari garimlo, one whose carry causes him. Yatzazeh, the zav, shein carry garimlo el davar acha garimlo. That his being a zav is what causes the problems. Kamash Malan. So maybe that's the chiddush, and therefore it's coming to tell you you don't really need maga. And therefore it's not like, oh, you need to learn maga and masa, so then you should only say that he's tami b'maga but not b'masa. No, midi v'lo davar acher ksiv. Says Rashi, mikri lailu ksiv bein matami bein matahar mashma hilchach magil israch kra. Who says this? Lord Belez Rabbi Yeshua. The shechva zer comes out of a zav. Matamba b'maga ain't a matamba b'mas. Rabbi Lezer. He holds this shechva zera that comes out of a zav will not be matamba b'masa. Rabbi Yeshua Omer av matamba b'mas it does. Lafi sheyesher blu sechsuchi ziva. Because when he has this discharge of shechva zera, there's probably some ziva that came out as well. So Ad kan lo kam Rabbi Yeshua hasam el sheyesh shlo sechsuch ziva. The only reason is because he probably had a discharge of zav. Holav hachilo. If somehow we could find a case where that wouldn't be the case, then he would not be a matamba b'masa. So we see that no one holds like this. El haitanahu dinan. Lamala mehen, a higher standard of tuma, says Rashi. Mishloish avos hatumais, from the three avos hatumos of sheretz, shechva zera, and tami mace. Lamala mehen, a higher standard of tuma, as we continue to chaf hey amid beis. Zoivo shel zav, the flow of a zav, veruka in his saliva, v'shechva zaro. We're going to focus on that. Shechva zaro, u'mei ragla, v'dam hanida. And it says clearly metamid ben b'maga ben b'masa. So we see clearly there's a shita that shechva zera is matama also b'masa. V'dil mahachinam l'v'yishesh b'loy sechsuchi ziva. Maybe that's the only reason. It's not because that the shechva zera alone is matama b'masa. It's only because maybe there's a flow of zavos in there. So but in Cain, listening gabi zayvai, then it should say it right next to zov. Why does it split it up? My taima diktani lo gabi rukai by saliva. No mishum de'asim rukai. Says Rashi, k'metargimin el ma tahar b'tahar. that we learn out from the Kavachimer from Rok. Amar Rav Achmed Ifnu Ravina. V'ha Haitana lo darish dayai. This Tana does not learn dayai. V'afgav delo mafach Kavachimer. Even though it doesn't have a pirch in the Kavachimer Desanya. Mapetz b'meis. If you have a mat, menayin. So how do we know? Says Rashi Shematama that this mat will become tamei. So v'dinu ma pachim ketanim shetarim bezav metama b'meis. When it comes to these small vessels, a kli cheres is only tamei, as we know, on the inside. Since it's so small, you can't put your finger inside. So therefore, its pachim ketanim is tahar bezav. Says Rashi b'chul tu moisav the kli cheres in matama el me'aviro inside. Umitach shepiv shlotzar. Since it's so narrow. Ein yochel hachnas etzbo l'soicha. You can't put your finger in it. Well, medras nam l'chazi. Okay. So therefore, like this, when it comes to small vessels, they're tahar b'zav, matamba b'meis, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. It's still matamba b'meis, as the pasuk says, v'chol kli pasuach, dezu kli shetu masu kodemus l'pischai, havi ermezek kli cheres, uksiv tamehu, v'afil piv tsar, harihu royal ha'alav. So even a small vessel, pachim katanim, is matama meis. So a mapitz, a mat, shematama bezav, and a din shematama b'meis. So therefore, we're going to kavachimer mapitz. That's matama b'meis. I have a kamaisi law bein l'tumas erev bein l'tumas shiva. We say this has to do with tumas erev only to the day, and or even 7 days. Yomai ema hani kavachim l'tumas erev v'hani dal lafuka shiva tumas shiva. So we see that this person does not hold of daya in this case either. I already asked him. We're actually learning out not from pachim katanim, but from sheretz. This is how you're supposed to read it. Mapitz b'sheretz menayin. How do we know that? Well, not that the mapitz is matama. B'meis, but rather b'sheretz. So v'dinhu ma pachim katanim shetarim bezav, as we said, because it's not tummy on the outside and the inside it's too narrow. Tamein b'sheretz, it's still tummy sheretz because a sheretz could get inside. So mapitz shematama bezav didn't shehim tummy b'sheretz. So therefore, certainly a mapitz will be matama sheretz. Ela mapitz b'meis b'nayin. How do we know that? So never beged v'or b'sheretz, and never beged v'or b'meis. It's more in Shabbos. Ma beged v'or hamer b'sheretz. Mapotz tamei boy af beged v'or hamer b'meis mapotz tamei bo. So that's how we learn it out. We learn it out through this gzer shava. That just like when it comes to a mapotz touches the sheretz, it's tamei. So to a mace in mufna. These words have to be extra. The ilu mufna. Ikul mifrach mal sheretz shechein matama b'kadasha. Tamer meishein matama b'kadasha. Maybe you can't compare sheretz to a mace because the sheretz is matama b'kadasha, and the size of a lentil. And when it comes to a mace, it's not matama b'kadasha, rather kazayas, el b'kazayas. So layaf nui mufna. Therefore, in fact, it has to be extra. Smithly. How do we see it's extra? Sheretz is shechva zera because sheretz is right next to shechva zera. D'chsev o isha sherteitzev v'goymer. Samachle next to it says o isha sheyiga b'chol sheretz uksibe b'shechva zera v'chol beged v'chol or asher yel of shechva zera. Any garment which is shechva zera on it. Beged v'or d'kosav rachmana b'sheretz l'amli. So why does that have to say over there? Shema minol afnui. It's extra. Mikati mufne is only beside echadu, only on one side. Shopper. That's if you have even one of the two sides that's open or vacant, then you can't ask any kashas on it. Because again, there's a difference between kadosh and a kazayas. So in that case, Michael Maimar. So the mace nami of nui mufne. It's also extra. Mechdi mace is shechva zera again. Just like sheretz is iskish l'shechva zera, so too mace is iskish l'shechva zera. D'chsev V'anogeh b'chol tami nefesh o ish asher teitzi mimenu shechva zera. Ksiv bein b'shechva zera v'chol beged b'chol or asher yel of shechva zera. Beged b'or because of Rachmano b'meis lamli. Why do you have to say it? Shemanim lefnui, it's extra. V'havi mufna b'shnei stadim. Chanicham ader medun mina v'uki batra. That you can learn from here and in also other cases. Elam ader medun mina mina malkimim or samarava amakra v'chibastem bigdechem. You should wash your clothes biyom hashvi. Kol tuma shatim atamin b'meis lo yupchusim mishiva. Shouldn't be less than 7 days. We're going to stop there. Let's look at question 14. Madua iyesher limoid shemapitz matamba b'meis kishar kalim mikav v'chomer zeh mapachim katanim shitaharin b'zav matamba b'meis mavish shitaharin b'zav edin matamba b'meis. So, because the problem is that there's an issue of dayoi, right? You should say it should not be matamba shiva, only tumas erev, just like the din of a zav. So this whole kav v'chomer is only you can only learn out from the din of a zav, and the zav himself is only tumas erev, not tumas shiva. So how can we learn out tumas shiva? So therefore, that is the issue. All right, let's see this. Right up here. So you can say Vahani dayo amai ema hani kavacharm tumas erev. Vahani dayo lafuki tumas shiva. Right? That's what it is. Okay. 14, same thing. All right. So that's the answer. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions here. TA 13. Hechi alfinin the mafetz tame b'sheretz. How do we know that a mafetz is tame b'sheretz? So we said we have a kav v'chaimer. Mepachim ketanim she'enim matamim b'zav matamim b'sheretz. Okay, so let's just get that. Again, the question is, how do we know mafetz is tame b'sheretz? So let's get this. Mapetz b'sheretz minayin, mapachim katanim shetarin b'zav taman b'sheretz, because the sheretz can go in. So mapetz shematami b'zav and shehet tami b'sheretz. Fine. So therefore, that was the answer to TA 13. So we're going up from pachim katanim. That is not going to be matama b'zav, it's matama b'sheretz. So mapetz, which is matama b'zav, it's certainly going to be matama b'sheretz. Okay. Question TB. Oh. TB 14. Madui yefshir limoid shemapetz matamba b'meis kishar kelim mekavachar mezeh mapach v'katam shetarim b'zav matam b'meis mapach matam b'zav and matam b'meis shezem moil rak le'inyan tumas erev v'lo tumas shivas yomim adkan.